One harvester can process up to 1,000 trees in a single shift without a human touching a single log. The hard part is not cutting the tree. It's controlling where it falls, hauling it out of difficult ground, and shredding what the sawmill leaves behind. Even stumps with steel buried inside. And at the end of all this, there is a homemade sawmill built from rollerblade wheels and a key fob that nobody saw coming. A spruce takes 30 years to grow into something a sawmill cares about. The Ponce Ergo takes 30 seconds to convince it otherwise. The 8-wheel chassis carries the machine across forest floor that would bog a regular tractor. The hydraulic boom swings the harvester head onto the next tree. The grip closes. An integrated chainsaw cuts the trunk in seconds. The tree falls where the operator chose, never the other way, if the day is going well. Then the real work starts. Feed rollers grab the felled trunk and pull it through stationary delimbing knives. Branches strip off in a steady spray. Onboard sensors measure diameter and length, and when the trunk hits the preset cut length, the saw fires again. Sorted log piles drop beside the strip road for the forwarder later. The chainsaw is not the dangerous part. 30 meters of timber falling the wrong way is. Operators read lean, wind, and crown weight before every cut because the head fells faster than a human runs. A gum tree standing alone in a paddock does not get the harvester treatment. It gets the excavator instead of all that. When the goal is irrigation farmland and not pulp logs, the tool changes shape entirely. A tracked excavator with a ripper attachment digs into the soil around the trunk first, severing the primary root mass at depth. Then it sets the bucket against the trunk and leans in. Gently at first, harder once the roots have stopped arguing back at it. The trunk cracks low and topples sideways onto cleared open ground. The ripper is not negotiating with the roots. It just keeps digging until the entire argument is over. Once down, the same machine drags trunk and crown clear, so the new irrigation lateral runs straight through the field. Felling one tree is a question. Felling a whole row of elms next to a kitchen window is a 5-stage operation in itself. The crew starts with a controlled notch cut at the base of each trunk. An excavator fitted with a top grab clamps high on the stem, holding the tree against the direction nobody wants it to fall. The chainsaw operator finishes the back cut. The excavator lowers the elm onto the street like a heavy door coming off its hinges. Then the cleanup chain runs through. Limbs get sawn off and fed straight into a tractor chipper that turns half a ton of leafy branches into green-flecked snow in seconds. Last in line, a cylindrical stump grinder chews everything below pavement level into a mix of wood chips and damp soil. An arborist sweating in a harness 15 meters up has a very different opinion of crane trucks than the rest of us watching all this from below. A truck-mounted crane with a long telescopic jib carries a sawing claw at the end of its boom. The operator works from the ground, watching from a safe angle. The claw reaches up into the canopy, grips a section of trunk, slices through it with an integrated chainsaw, then carries the cut piece straight down into a disposal container on a waiting truck. The tree comes down one engineered piece at a time. Most farmers do not own a Ponce. They own a tractor. The H-Pro 755 HB is what bolts on behind it. This is a tractor-mounted processor with a felling grip on the end of its hydraulic boom. The grip clamps a standing tree, an integrated chainsaw cuts the base, and the felled trunk feeds straight into the processor body sitting behind the tractor. Feed rollers pull the stem through delimbing knives. Onboard electronics call out length and diameter on a cabin screen in real time. The crosscut saw fires at the right point. When a tree stands too far for the boom, a hydraulic winch drags it close enough to process. The tree is down, cut, measured, stacked. Now the harder question: how do tons of timber leave a forest that has no road through it? The harvester drops the logs and keeps moving on. Somebody still has to come back later to collect them. A felled trunk in a soft Scandinavian forest weighs anywhere from a quarter ton to several tons. The road, if there is one, is somewhere far through the trees. The Ponce Buffalo is a forwarder built for exactly this gap. It carries a hydraulic crane on its midsection, a load bay behind, and large flotation tires that spread weight across soft peat ground without sinking. The crane reaches out, grabs a stack in one bite, swings across, drops them in the bay. Repeat until full. Drive to the landing. The clever part is that the forwarder follows the same strip road the harvester already used. 2 passes, 1 corridor. Less ground gets crushed underneath. Not every log job justifies a forwarder. Some jobs justify a Can-Am 6x6 and a trailer welded out of plate steel in the back shed alone. The ATV pulls a Vahva Juicy timber trailer with its own hydraulic crane powered by a Honda GX 200 unit running at 175 bars. Low-pressure 8-ply tires keep the rig floating on soft oak forest ground near Bratislava. Stabilizing legs drop. The crane swings out. The grapple loads the bay log by log. 2 control levers run the whole crane. Inside a sawmill yard, the forest version of moving timber stops being relevant. The yard version begins on a different footing. The Senebogen 735E is a pick-and-carry timber handler with a 360-degree cab that elevates for visibility over high stacks. It grabs full bundles of sorted logs, carries them between sorted bays at walking pace, and feeds an in-feed sorter line continuously all day. A factory machine is one option. A weekend in a Slovak garage with a welder and a hydraulic pump is another option entirely. Both end up doing the same exact job. This homemade trailer carries a self-fabricated crane with a multi-lever hydraulic control valve mounted on an axle bogie with brakes and proper road tires. The grapple swings, picks up logs of mixed size, places them into the bay. Same hydraulic logic as a factory machine, built on a budget. Some parts of every tree never make it to the sawmill, and somebody still has to deal with them. Not every part of a tree becomes a clean board. Stumps, roots, and contaminated waste timber become a different machine's problem. The Morbark HT1684 Predator is built for the mess. Twin shafts running at low speed and high torque grip stumps with attached soil, embedded fence wire, broken concrete from old demolition, and nails buried inside. 25 tons of contaminated stumps with wire, concrete, and rebar mixed in. The dual shafts grip and pulverize the entire load without jamming once. The shredded output flows toward a magnetic separator that pulls ferrous scrap before the wood reaches the next stage. Heavy bush hides a property line. The Barco 930 mulcher forgets about it on purpose, 1 square meter at a time. A tracked carrier with a forward-mounted mulching head grinds through Seckelbos thickets and small trees in South Africa, leaving the designated trees standing. Before, impenetrable scrub. After, open ground. Not every mulcher needs its own carrier. The DAF 180D bolts straight onto whatever skid steer is sitting in the yard. The carrier needs at least 85 GP, 30 GPM of hydraulic flow, and 1,450 kilograms of lift capacity. After that, the attachment becomes its own machine. It cuts fire breaks before fire season starts, stabilizes soil after wildfires have already burned through, opens utility right-of-way corridors, and clears ranch land that grew up with weeds during the last drought. The economics also work because the same skid steer that handles a bucket in the morning becomes a forestry tool in the afternoon. A big chipper does one thing, very well, all day. The Petzolato PTH 900G does it with a tractor as the actual host machine on site. A John Deere R6215 of 250 GP runs the chipper directly. A Palfinger Epsilon crane loads it. Full pine trunks, leafy branch bundles, and mixed brush all go into the same intake. The drum inside accepts everything from straight long timber to messy branch heaps and discharges fine wood chips straight into the bed of a waiting truck. The forest is not the only place that fills up with waste wood. Recycling yards do too, and a lot faster than anyone wants. The AK-420 is an industrial shredder built for that exact problem. A crane grapple drops broken pallets, off-cut scrap, and shipping crates into the hopper. The rotor crushes everything into wood, mulch, and chips. A conveyor walks the output sideways into a new pile growing beside it. Pallet goes in. Mulch comes out. Nobody asks the pallet. The next comes the part of the tree that arrives at the factory almost perfect. Forget for a moment what the forest looked like. This part of the journey actually starts at the factory door. A logging truck pulls up. Logs roll off, get tagged by grade and species, sit in a sorted yard with a name on each pile of stems. Inside the mill, large circular saws square the log into a workable cant. The cant goes into a hot water vat for a long soak that softens the wood fibers just enough. Then comes the part that surprises people who have never seen it. A slicing machine the size of a small house shaves off paper-thin veneers, sheet after sheet, peeling the cant down like an industrial onion. The sheets travel through dryers on a conveyor, get trimmed and stacked, and ship out as packaged bundles. A whole tree becomes wallpaper-thin layers, except this wallpaper ends up on furniture, doors, and dashboards across 3 continents. Why soak a log in hot water before cutting it at all? Because dry hardwood splinters under a blade. Warm, damp hardwood slices cleanly through. Sprinklers spray the yard outside to keep logs from cracking on the weight. Each log gets debarked, then squared, then sunk into a hot tank for hours of soaking. The softened cant rises to the slicer. A pressure bar holds the wood while the knife shaves micro-thin sheets in steady, repeated passes through it. Hours of soaking. Seconds of slicing. Decades on the front of a piece of furniture nobody will ever think twice about. Not every sawmill is a factory. Some are a touchscreen, a steel frame, and a saw head that moves on rails. A portable auto sawmill cuts merbau, one of the hardest tropical timbers, into smooth slabs. The operator dials in thickness. The powered saw head feeds forward and returns automatically. Bark hides everything a saw wants to see. Knots, splits, the steel from an old fence buried 50 years ago. An 8-foot debarker strips it off cleanly before the log enters production. Industrial mills cost real money. A Michigan garage, a month and a half, and a 14-horsepower Kohler engine cost something else entirely. The build sits on a 14-foot carriage with a 12-foot log capacity. A 19-inch wheel turns a 12-tooth blade. The blade tensioner uses repurposed rollerblade bearings. Yes, actual hockey roller skates, and a small, portable jack instead of a precision spring. The carriage runs on cable, controlled by a key fob, because the builder's son thought a key fob was funny. A water can drip coolant onto the blade through a plastic tube. Roller bearings act as blade guides. The whole rig binds the log with a steel pipe tensioner and a chain. A measuring scale reads 4 quarters, 5 quarters, 6 quarters, and 8 quarters thickness in quarter inches. Built in a shed over a month and a half. Cuts boards within thousandths of the target. Industrial logic, garage budget. A finished board is one product. A pallet blank is another, made on a different line entirely. A pallet line takes thin, round timber, up to 34 centimeters in diameter, and turns it into stacked rectangular blanks ready for nailing into pallets. The line moves at 0 to 20 meters per minute, producing up to 100 cubic meters of pallet stock per shift. The sequence is mechanical and unbroken. An automatic accumulator feeds logs one at a time into the slabbing machine. The slabbing machine flattens the log into a beam and discharges side slabs onto a chain conveyor. A centering device sends the slab into a multi-rip saw with 160 mm cut height. A 4-blade cross-cut machine squares lengths to specification. Wood goes in round. It comes out as the rectangle holding tomorrow's tomatoes. Feed speed sets factory speed. If logs do not arrive on time, the saw waits, and the line falls behind. A chain conveyor with a mechanical separator pushes one log at a time onto the feed line. Big machines do big jobs. The small ones still solve the same problems. A modern harvester from 2024 fells, delimbs, measures, and bucks a tree in one continuous cycle. A Locomo McCary 34T from 1984 fells, delimbs, measures, and bucks a tree in one continuous cycle too. 40 years separate them. The basic problem has not changed in any meaningful way. This particular McCary has been rebuilt with a 4-cylinder Deutz engine making about 100 horsepower. Up from the original spec, but still compact enough to fit through Wisconsin hardwood stands without snapping low branches off the host trees. The tracked chassis crawls forward. The head grips a trunk, the integrated saw fires, the trunk falls. Feed rollers pull it through delimbing knives. Onboard length sensors fire the buck saw at the right point. Sorted logs land in stacks. Same job a brand new Ponce runs today. Different decade and paint, identical logic. The principle keeps showing up in smaller and smaller machines. Some Saturday in Central Europe, 2 guys hook a homemade splitter to a tractor and process a whole winter's worth of firewood. A hydraulic ram pushes a heavy round of beech or oak through a fixed crossblade. 4 pieces of stove-ready firewood drop into a pile. The tractor's PTO drives the hydraulic pump. The 2 operators trade roles, one loading, one stacking. $1 million harvester or backyard splitter, the challenge remains: control a heavy, awkward piece of wood and turn it into something useful before it hurts somebody. Look at the lumber in your garage with different eyes now. Thanks for watching. The world is full of machines most people never get to see up close. Hit subscribe and we'll see you on the next one.